Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 139 days away from the official release by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about this film is that we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are taking a lot of risks with this movie, where they are not playing it safe with this film, but at the same exact time are going to be very nostalgic with this movie to really recapture the audience of the originals and the prequels and bring all of them into the final act of course, the sequel trilogy. Now, with that being said, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions as well as one of the big plans by J.J. Abrams and George Lucas, this is where things begin to get very intense for Episode 9. Now, specifically, it's described that during the rewrites of the film for the months of November and December of 2018, just late last year, is when both J.J. Abrams and George Lucas worked very close with each other on adjusting the script for the second and third acts of the film. It's described that George Lucas proposed that they would make two reveals that would be bigger than the I Am Your Father moment from Empire Strikes Back, and that these two reveals would be centered on Rey's identity reveal and who she really is, and a huge revelation linked to Palpatine/Darth Sidious, both of which are said to be explained in the third act separately, that George and JJ worked very hard on, that's actually explained to be bigger than the I Am Your Father moment that took roughly 1 month to write and get it done correctly. Additionally, it said that these two reveals also borrowed elements from Star Wars Legends, also known as the Expanding Universe, that will also introduce new Force lore. It's also described that George Lucas wanted these two reveals to be authentic and not just added in for shock value, and that everything will make sense to the audience once they see the film. The two reveals took 1 month and change to film, as well as during the month of January, leading into the first batch of days into February, before they wrapped shooting, and that some other sequences were and are still being shot for reshoots. So let's go over a couple of parts about this and why it's very intriguing and really leaves me scratching my head. Now, I will say that, in my opinion, it's impossible to really top the I Am Your Father moment. I could be wrong about this, I will say that. I could be wrong that, the I Am Your Father moment cannot be topped, but I just feel like that the reason as to why the I Am Your Father moment is so classic and so legendary is because, well, at the same exact time, people back in the 1980s were not expecting such a reveal. And that's the other thing, is that that franchise back then wasn't expected to have any kind of reveals, where now, in this day and age, with the internet and everything around those lines, everybody's always thinking about what's next in this movie, what's going to be revealed in this film, right? So, like I say, the fact that they are planning to make this bigger than the I Am Your Father moment, and that these reveals have all to do with Rey's identity reveal, as well as a massive revelation related to Darth Sidious, that's not only going to change Star Wars lore forever, but it's going to change how fans view the prequels and the originals forever. And that, to me, is a big deal. It really tells us that the fact that they wrote these sequences for 1 whole month straight and filmed them for 1 whole month straight, it really tells you that it must be very important, and it really must have been done very well since George Lucas was attached. And by the way, that's the thing here. I'm very optimistic about this film because of George. I think if it weren't for George, we wouldn't have a lot of the nostalgic moments that are being inserted into Episode 9. In fact, in case you guys did not know, Disney Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, head of Lucasfilm, she actually needed George to come up with the idea of exactly how Palpatine would come back. Kennedy claims that, Palpatine was in the cards ever since before The Force Awakens was written, which I'm not quite sure if that's just a cover-up or if that's the truth, but one thing is for certain is that George was the one who came up with the idea of exactly how Palpatine would be utilized in The Rise of Skywalker, and now the fact that he was heavily involved with Rey's identity reveal with J.J. Abrams, and how these two reveals with both Rey and Palpatine are going to be larger than the I Am Your Father moment, really speaks volumes. I gotta say, it does have me intrigued. I still just have my doubts, though. I just don't know if a certain reveal can really top the I Am Your Father moment, only because of how, many times it's been referenced in other types of media, and how it marked itself down as one of the most popular moments in film history in pop culture. So with that being said, it is said to be very authentic and not just added in for shock value, which tells us that it is going to be very pure for the audience to go ahead and see. It's going to really hit the fans emotionally, leaving us talking about this moment for years on end, going back to The Rise of Skywalker and watching it endlessly. If it is indeed that good, that's exactly what kind of effect it'll have on the audience, and that's exactly what they want to have with this movie in order to change our review of the sequel trilogy. So anyways guys, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.